guys, welcome to Sopi Studio Umbiamas, conectando Aruba com o mundo via vídeo podcasting. Conectar conosco, compartilhar ideias e histórias para nos inspirar e para nos abrir. Sopi Studio é plataforma de podcast na Aruba. Follow-nos no Facebook, subscribe no YouTube ou na plataforma de podcast preferida. Escute o podcast preferido que hora e onde escutar. Sopi Studio, powered by Qredits. Botou ideia? Qredits educa e prepara a abo para ser um empresário exitoso. De business plan, guia personal e préstamo para negócio até com 100,000 florin. Bira bom mês donho com Qredits. Sopway. Passa na Sopway para o sop, salada, wrap ou flatbread e mais fresco. Com 7 localidades rond Aruba. Nós está cerca de Ibo. Sopway. SwingMasterz. Organizando events, conferences of weddings. Mister de luz, sound, staging, DJ, trussing of LED screen. SwingMasterz está claro para ser boa festa éxito. SwingMasterz. E agora, Sopi Studio é plataforma de podcast de Aruba, está apresentar.
Yo, you don't know. We going global with this thing. Boom, top class, university. What a global opportunity. Aruba University. Take part, come join me. Together for the local experience. Spread the culture over the nation. Let's build up the community. Learning and teaching in diversity.
Hello, and good afternoon. Good afternoon, Deborah.
Hola, Cherise. How are you?
Where I'm doing awesome, and we're back at Straight Up Conversation about educational programs.
Sponsored by the University of Aruba, powered by every Thursday, 3:30 here on Sopi Mix.
Yes, and it's our intention to share island stories, learn from each other, and also be open. And as we are sharing our different information, we hope to empower you at home, our viewers, to become a lifelong learner.
Yes, that's the very most important part, Cherise, the lifelong learning.
But we are excited because we have two special young entrepreneurs and powerful women with us
Creative,
today.
dynamic, breaking biases, don't even fit the norm. I think that's wonderful, especially when you look at their educational trajectory, which I'm like so crazy to talk about.
Yeah.
I think just go to it. Actually, they're not unknown to the world of podcasts.
They're not. And let's dive in right away. And let's start with Nicole. Good afternoon and welcome. Good afternoon. Hi. Yes, I love the look. Like she goes like, hi, are you hearing me? Are we hearing her now? Yes, we are. So good afternoon and introduce yourself.
Good afternoon. My name is Ann-Nicolle Thijsen. I'm an influencer, they would say, and store and marketing manager at Lindy Boutique.
Energetic, new, and ideas and everything else. But, we always kind of say from before we go to our next guy, what would your friends say about you?
I'm very outspoken. So I'm very out there, I would say.
She's been very, very chosen words. She's just like saying a word. Do you think that's it?
No, I think there's much more. Tell us the deep, dark secrets. What did your friends say about you?
Let's dive in. It's only everybody listening to the podcast will hear you, but it's okay.
Well, let's say I'm very blunt. So when I have something to say, I would say it, whether you like it or not. So that's why I'm very outspoken. Some things I say may hurt your feelings, but I say it from deep of my heart.
You mean well.
Yeah, I mean well.
Yeah. Thanks. Okay, that's a short introduction. Don't worry. As the conversation will
warm
continue.
up. This conversation will warm up. It will get hot.
Yeah. So, Deborah, who else do we have on the table?
The next one has her own podcast on
Yeah.
Sopi Mix herself. So she's a pro. I think we can learn from her.
Yeah, I think so too. So no other than
Carolina Span.
Hi.
Introduce yourself. Who are you? Tell us, because I don't know you.
Right, because in the podcast she's doing the talking, but she's not letting know who she is. Yeah. So your moment to shine again.
Hi. Okay, so I'm Carolina, yes, and thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really excited. I always think it's funny when I'm on the guest seat. I don't do this often. I like asking the questions. But yes, so I work as a health policy advisor for the government of Aruba. Besides that, I do a lot of community work. So I'm in the board of different local organizations.
You know, I'm sorry. I'm going to stop you right there because, you know, that's,
Why?
you know,
What
she's
would your
like,
friends
no,
say
because
about you?
what
Okay,
were your
fine,
friends? We were
fine.
like, you know, because you know why? Getting to know the person makes us
Okay.
connect with each
Okay,
other.
okay,
So
okay.
people, you know, just drop your comments because she's always giving out these prizes. You know, the one that
no
can tell her
prizes.
secret before, you know, will give out a prize. So
Yeah, message us a secret, you know, someone who
right,
honestly.
right. So what would your
Okay,
friends say
okay.
about you?
Okay, what would they say about me? So I think they would probably say that I am very opinionated and very strong-willed in that. I think in the last, I want to say 8 years, I kind of went into a lot of youth and children's issues and kind of coined the Fighter for Kids, yeah, I don't know, brand or whatever. But yeah, that's my thing. Like I am constantly,
advocate.
yes, I'm constantly looking at injustices. So I'm really outspoken about that. You know, some of my friends consider me a little radical. I don't consider myself radical in comparison to other people that I consider
Why radical? What is it about you that they find
I'm going to
radical?
inch up a bit more. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
What is it?
Yes, well, I mean, I'm not afraid to give an opinion and to, you know, talk about things that a lot of people are maybe a little bit more afraid to talk about. I think I also have many years of practice. I was raised in a very open and discussions are welcome household. So since a very young
Awesome.
age.
That's wonderful.
That's
Yes, unless you're in
wonderful.
school, you know, then teachers don't really love that. But
Yeah, unfortunately,
now
but
I
it's
love it.
changing. It's changing.
I just
It's
want to ask, how
changing.
would you, because you said, you know, it was encouraged at home, how would you describe your parents? Were they weren't then traditional? They were what?
Oh no, not at all. Not at all.
Mom and dad is
traditional.
like, oh, no, she's
Yeah,
going to
no,
bash
not in a
the
bad
tradition.
way, but no, I mean, you know, they were relatively open, very liberal. I think I say relatively, but in comparison to
right,
most
the
Aruban households, they're very, you know. But they are, they generally believe in making sense of things. So anything that I wanted or thought that I should get or do, I had to kind of explain why.
Awesome.
Good thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good thing. It's not like you're going to get it because you want it, you know. Why do you need it? Yeah.
So, and that was a little bit of everything. And I was always also allowed to ask why to them. So I guess also my sense of curiosity comes a lot from there, from just being allowed to ask and continue to ask. So a lot of people would say that I ask a lot of questions constantly. Not everybody likes that, but that's okay.
I'm curious when we come back to the aspect of education trajectory,
Right,
how this
right.
influence your, because you made a sentence that I thought, okay, maybe this, now that you're saying this, I think I might be able to understand where you're coming from, but I'm quite curious on that. So, but what kind of special hobby or something that we don't know about you that, you know, you do, you sing, you cook, you write poetry,
No, and no.
you farm, you know, that we think, no, she doesn't have time for that.
Well, I'm very good with my hands, so I do like to take care of plants. I have like different plants that I do take care of. I'm also really good with beads, so I do stuff with beads. I make like little things like bracelets and necklaces. And you know, not too long ago, Lindy, actually, where Nicole lives, told me that I should, you know, market it a little bit more and start selling, but it's so much pressure.
Well, we're going to get to that.
Where's my
We're
pen and
going to
paper?
get to that. But Nicole, what about a bit about your hobbies?
Well, I am.
We're not going to reveal everything, ladies.
I'm very out there with my Instagram. So I like taking photo shoots in my free time. I like reading books, going to the beach, spending time with my dogs. They're my like little babies. So, and reading books helped me a lot through the way to finding myself in the way I want to portray myself out there. yeah, I think that's probably it.
We'll talk about that as well.
Yeah, we'll talk about that as well. And you know,
PG-13 version,
right?
but yeah.
So now, what I think is important, because, you know, when I met Nicole, I was actually, you know, facilitating the course, and, you know, she was like always on time, always positive participation. She always had an opinion. She would ask those questions. And I was just like, wow, it's really nice to see how empowering and how the young entrepreneurs are really going about doing different courses, becoming and remaining lifelong learners. So having said that, tell me a bit about your education trajectory, where you went to school, what you did, where you lived.
Well, I went first to APE. I started my first grade there in economics. And yes, I liked it, but I still didn't love it. So I wasn't doing something I really loved. I tried again for the second year to see if it was meant to be. And in the end, I decided I'm not going to do this. I'm going to just move to the Netherlands at my 17-year-old alone to the Netherlands and starting my MBO there. And I did 2 courses at once. I was going to challenge myself because, you know, going to the Netherlands is not easy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make the best of it and gain a lot of knowledge as I go out there. So I did international business and marketing. That was an English course, but I also had to do a Dutch course, and that was marketing communication. So after 3 years there, in my last year, I did a whole year of internship. I decided I was going to do business innovation in Den Bosch, in Avans.
Avans of school, that's where
Yeah.
we're going. Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
I liked it there, but it was getting a lot of complicated for me because I had to move to another district. All my friends were gone, so I didn't have the same support I had like in the
You
MBO.
need that.
And my whole family is here, so it became a little like way too much for me to handle. And Corona hit, so no going out. Everybody was at home. School was at home, so no communication. And I like going out with my friends, get some coffee, talk to each other, and I couldn't do that anymore. So after my first year there, I decided, okay, let's try for another year, because I got in my second year, so everything was going good. And then I was like, why don't I just stop this and just get the experience? Because I can have a diploma in 4 years, and then they will be, yeah, but you will not get hired because you don't have like a 3 years experience. And I was like, okay, Mom, I'm gonna stop. And I moved here for like a year, and I was looking for jobs here before I officially stopped my school. So if I get a job, I'm gonna start my job. If not, I'm gonna just continue studying. So that's when I got the first opportunity to work at Lindy Boutique as a marketing manager.
Shout out to Lindy.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful store.
And when I went there, I started gaining the experience, networking, and everything you need in the business life. And after that, I got promoted for store and marketing manager because I was always upfront, communicating with the clients and finding out what they like and everything
That's what
else.
marketing is really all about.
But you forgot something along the way, because I saw that you had also had A&T Marketing. So in the Netherlands, you started your own company.
She's like being very reserved.
They're trying to keep, they're outspoken, but they're keeping back some information here on this
Don't
educational
worry,
trajectory.
viewers. We're going to get to the bottom of this.
Let's say in my first year of the HBO, I decided I gained a lot of knowledge on the way, and I decided to open my business called A&T Marketing, where I worked with customers from Aruba, but I was in the Netherlands. After a month of promoting myself and I got the help from people to brand myself a little bit more. I got opportunity to work with the government, the educational part, and I used with my business then to help them the analytics part of it, because I hate numbers, but I love the analytics behind it. So it's a little bit complicated. And I did ads for them. I promoted their Instagram, their Facebook, you name it. And it was close to like the election, so everybody was like on it. And with my help of marketing and the analytics behind it, I started my business, got my first client. Everything was going good. But then I decided I was going to focus full-time on my job and close it down, move back here. And now I'm in the process of looking where I'm going to open next.
And I'm sure it will be something successful.
Yeah.
Really, really
Thank you.
interesting.
Yeah, at such a young age, that you moved, you tried something, you moved back and forward, and you just said you had the support of your friends, because when students are traveling, some of them are getting ready to go abroad, some of them will study at the university. Although we are busy with your education trajectory, what would you tell students who are getting ready to leave?
Be prepared. It's hard. So when they say it's easy, it's not. It's a whole new world out there. You've lived here in Aruba and everything is so small, and when you go to a big place, you need to be very open-minded and don't let what other people say stop you from doing what you want, because going to the Netherlands, people are very outspoken, and if you're not ready for it, and we Arubians tend to tend to
Yeah. It seems as if.
when people tell us something, we go by it with the heart. But in the Netherlands, it's just like a lesson. They tell you something because you got to learn from it. And they're going to keep telling you it until you learn. And some people find it hard because, oh, no, why they keep telling me this? They're just bringing me down.
You said that, and I can remember where in this conversation it was brought forward several times that we stay in this emotional states instead of the survival state and executive state. I'm learning that in conscious discipline that I'm following. But we take it so emotional and personal, while in everything there's a learning lesson. And I remember someone was saying it last, I look, what can I learn from it?
Yeah.
Yes.
You need to look at the positive side of it.
Yeah.
And don't take it personal. Don Miguel Ruiz always said the 4 agreements.
Yeah.
One of them,
4 agreements.
don't take things personal. Really not. But I think that's an interesting introduction.
Conversation. For those of you who just tuned in, this is Straight Up Conversation about education, a program sponsored by the University of Aruba right here on Sopi Mix.
This is Straight Up Conversation about education, a program sponsored by the University of Aruba.
And having said that, Nicole, thank you very much for that insight. So now,
I will come back to
yeah,
Nicole
we'll
because
come back
there's a link
because
to our next.
yes, there's a link to our topic. But Carolina, tell us a bit about your trajectory.
Okay, so when I was still in high school, I was very much into like the natural sciences, and I was in colegio, and I had this idea that I was going to study something like aerospace engineering or whatever.
Cool.
And yeah, now I think it's funny, but but back then I had like this thing, and so I just went into it, and then I think in my last year I was a little bit like chill about it, and then there were like, okay, what are you really gonna do? And then I started applying for stuff, and a lot of stuff in that area is loading. And I didn't really have like a plan B, because I was also at odds with like where my friends were going versus like where my personality and who I am should go to, right? So my parents were telling me that they don't think I should go to the Netherlands because it doesn't really match like who I am. And I was like, no, I'm going anyway. If all my friends can do it, I can do it too. So anyway, so it was very last minute, and then I had to apply for some random, I don't want to say random, but something that was not in my area.
Just so you can go, right?
Yeah, because I didn't have like economy or whatever, so I couldn't apply for anything in that area. And then so there's a bunch of like buts. So I went to the Netherlands, and I went to study, I think it was communications. I think it was international communications, something like that.
She like just blocked it out of her.
Yeah, totally.
Wasn't the right choice.
No, it was not. Yeah. It was not. I mean, I did learn and found like some affinity to some aspects of it.
Yeah, you got your own podcast show, right?
But I went, and then I was super bored the first like semester because I
can just see her playing with her hair like la 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 la.
Popping a chewing gum.
Yeah, like I did not, click, and I am a very like active outdoorsy person, and then
which town did you go? I'm curious.
Den Haag.
It's not that bad. Den Haag.
No, I lived in Scheveningen actually, so it was really nice.
Awesome.
So at the beginning it was nice because I could like bike to the beach, and
it gets a bit cold in the winter, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it was more like I don't even mind the cold, but it was more that like people didn't want to go out too much, and then people start like staying in, not like going out at night, but just in general, like, oh, let's go to the city and just walk walk or whatever, and it's like, oh, it's really cold, it's gonna rain and whatever. So
isn't that a bit what most of the Aruban students in Aruba? I mean, we go to Holland that we whine about. It's like the weather, or is it just my perception?
Well, yeah. Remember it's a conversation, so just dive right in.
Yeah, feel entertainment. Again, like I wouldn't mind, and I had like a couple of friends who wouldn't mind it either. So we would just bike in the rain, or we would see, and it's like, oh, a certain percentage of it raining, and then it rains, and we're just laughing, and it's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
But slowly, it just started getting like a lot of indoor time, and
it's not your thing.
No,
not my thing either.
Or it definitely wasn't at 17. Yeah. So anyway, so I think it was November, and I called my dad, and he had a whole like moment with my mom. It's like, we told you this.
Parents, if you're listening and you're the viewers, sometimes kids don't like to listen, but I guess they will have to venture out on their own to learn.
So I learned. They were very happy though that I learned quickly, and that I didn't like spend too much time like figuring it out or like feeling too bad about it. So my dad came early December and helped me pack my stuff, and he was like, "Okay, so as soon
What's
as
next?"
It was decided like as soon as like January comes in, we're gonna go to the US and we're gonna check out schools, and because this is what you should have done, but you didn't want to listen.
Like rub.
But I guess they do know me, and I'm like the fifth child, so I also think they know children. Period.
Sometimes like they always say people would see something in you that you may not see in yourself, especially at a young age. But it's natural. It's natural because you're exploring.
Well in one of our conversations that we had, where sometimes the advice of the parents really made the difference, and sometimes the parents should allow the child to follow their own dreams. So
it's a learning curve. It's a life learning curve.
Education is not that straightforward, and the trajectory definitely not.
No, and I also do have to say though that I did not feel like in my last years finishing high school that I had enough guidance as to what like realistic options were, and depending on the person that you are as well. So I got to the US and I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't even know what I'm gonna enroll in. I was so happy I could just do an associate in arts and kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
I totally did that. I took a bunch of like random courses.
Greek and Roman mythology?
Yes. I was a teacher assistant in Greece and Italy because I wanted to check out Greek and Roman mythology. I really like ethics, and I went into the whole like ethics and philosophy phase and did that. I did field biology for a little bit and marine biology for a little bit, but just having that space to kind of figure it out, I guess that was also like very different for me with the Netherlands, where you have like a very rigid curriculum.
Very rigid,
And here it's like, especially because I was doing an associate in arts, I mean, they were telling you like, depending on what you want to study afterwards, this is what you should aim for credits wise, but you also get to do whatever else that fits your schedule. So I did everything else that fit my schedule.
Having said that, just for our viewers and listeners, University of South Carolina, if you're an Aruban, because the University of Aruba and Aruba has an agreement. So you actually get to pay in-house tuition. And
so I
so
do want to give a shout out to my alma mater, which is Coastal Carolina University, which also has a deal with Aruba.
Super. Because I think we should explore those universities that give us in-house tuition, because it's like very expensive, and like you say, you don't always get it right the first time, because you're exploring and understanding who you are, and then at the same time you need to make choices on to study blah blah blah.
And she forgot to say she graduated magna cum laude. Yes, from there.
Yes,
so
but
for
it
someone
did
who
take
didn't
me
know,
a while. No, exactly. It did take me a while to get there though, because I went to Central Florida first. I went to Valencia because I did want to have like
Valencia
a college,
community.
yes, a college experience, just so I could have this. And my parents decided that would have also been a good idea. My parents also lived in the US for a very long time, so they understood the US school system. So they were like, no, you're not gonna enroll into like a university. You should go to like college first, figure it out. Like take these 2 years and take like a bunch of random courses and
just
figure
to see what works
yeah,
for
because
you.
I was clearly like in the, what am I gonna do? And then I was like, okay, I think I like communications, but more like the PR aspect of it. And also because in the US you can do like random minors and attach them to it. So I was like, okay, I like that, but I also like child behavior. So then I got into a private school, which was really, really nice. I got a scholarship for it, so I didn't have to pay as much, which was really awesome. I do also have to say that I really enjoyed the competitiveness and education in the US compared to the Netherlands system, in the sense that studying hard is like very intangible ways rewarded. So every semester, like if you get on the president's list or the dean's list, you get something.
Right.
And it's scholarships,
It's
it's money back.
rewarding.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I love that. So I
But
was
moving
very
forward-
motivated.
So moving forward, what did you
Yeah.
major in at the end, and what's the transition to Aruba? Because
Then-
you had many opportunities
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you left cum laude. So.
Yeah, well, I did not finish PR. I went to private school for a year. It was really nice. Very small classroom settings, 12 students. I realized very quickly that I was very good on paper, but in reality, like the competition with these like very high achieving students, I would probably not make it in the real world in this area.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So then I went to this was like, I'm 2 years in, right? I have a
Yeah.
bunch of random credits. And I was like, okay, I really need to figure this out again. So then I started doing different like, personality tests and just talking to my professors and just figuring out what I really, really liked. And then I knew that Aruba had to deal with certain schools. Like it was a new deal with the University of South Carolina, Coast Carolina, and some other
Right.
universities as
Right.
well. And then I found the area of health administration, which gave me that perfect balance of like the sciences, a lot of like management and communications in it as well, and where I could focus in child behavior and pediatrics. So it was like the most holistic thing for me. So that was my fourth school at that point. And in the awesomeness of it all is, of course, that I could just transfer my credits wherever I went. Yep. I did graduate with a bunch of extra credits, but it's because, Roman mythology is like...
I mean, when you listen to them, sure, they're a totally different generation, of course.
Right. But I embrace that her parents, okay, they probably had the possibility to, give you this opportunity,
For
but
sure.
that you kind of get the opportunity to explore. Because I always say, when I hear students say, I'm a gap year, I said, okay, but what are you going to do? Because
I
a
was
gap
not allowed
year
to have
is
a gap
not just going to take what I don't want to call, flipping burgers a dead end work unless you're planning to move up. But just don't do something just to do them to get some money to buy a shirt and whatever pants and kits and what have you. But do it with the intention to see if you're going to job shadow, if you want to, that is your area, but then they just say, the gap year is me to buy stop on that, because when you get that little money, when you're, living at home, it looks as if it's like a pile of money, but it's not. But I want to know, because, we want to go to the topic, because both of you are doing very interesting thing. Why did you decide to come back to Aruba? Because you did have a few opportunities.
I came first to do some research. Well, since I'm not a U.S. citizen, you kind of have to figure out what you're going to do, because you get kicked out. So I came to Aruba to do research for my last year, and I did the research at the hospital, and I saw a lot of opportunities there in the sense of in the, health management area that we were really kind of, there was a lot to explore. So I think it was a little bit of that. And my parents, I'm the fifth kid, but after a while too, I was not like a planned child or whatever. So my parents are, older of age, and I kind of felt that
You wanted to come back to support them.
I had an Aruban partner, so that also had like some influence. So I was like, okay, this is really like an area for me to explore. And then I got a really nice job offer as soon as I graduated.
Awesome.
So that's really
The
why.
reason.
And I do want to say that, I'm very I believe in like giving back in so many different ways. And I also felt like I had this knowledge that I could share with Aruba and just wanted to see where that kind of
led to.
You know, when I was reading both of your bios, you both said something quite similar. So, Caroline, you said, I didn't quite fit in the educational, educational system, really still looking. And Nicole, you said, I I didn't feel like I was reaching my full potential.
That's true.
How do you feel now about that?
Well, now after going to the Netherlands, I think I accomplished more than I could have accomplished if I stayed here. Because I was working after school, so after school work, you were getting cash in, and you start seeing money, and
you get into that cycle.
To the cycle of like, okay, how about I just quit school, don't get no diploma, and just keep working because I'm getting money.
Yeah.
And then my mom was like, okay, you're not gonna do that. Snap out of it. Tell me what you want to do. And along the way, I was like, Mom, this is not for me. I'm 17, so I have to get permission from my mom before I go to the Netherlands because I'm underaged. And then I started looking around for schools, and I got a great opportunity. But when I got there, again, I did APE, and it's a MBO niveau 4, they would say it.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, but it's Arubian MBO, so you're like a niveau 3. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm a niveau 4.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they don't.
You knew your potential.
Yeah, they didn't recognize the APE in the Netherlands, so that got a little bit complicated because I started class with a niveau 4, so that means I have to do 3 years niveau 4, 3 years niveau 3 years niveau 3, 3 years niveau 4, and then HBO, and that's like 10 years.
Yeah.
Wow, in 10 years I started counting. I'm like, I'm not doing it. So I was like, okay, you know what? I messaged my mom. My mom went to like the ministry or something from Aruba to get like a copy that APE is a niveau 4, because she was like, you're not gonna waste 3 years doing something
that you already have the potential to.
So I did that, and well, in the end year, I was like, look at me now.
Awesome.
When I got my diploma for international business and marketing, the English course, I got a triple D star diploma. That's the highest diploma you can get there.
Wow.
And the school was very proud because after 4 years, they finally got a student that could accomplish.
Nice.
You see, you kept some things back.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You kept some things. I think she's
so
giving a lot back. But just before you continue, how were you as a kid?
Oh, wow. I was very talk active, hyperactive a lot. I couldn't sit on my chair.
Carolina's like, I gotcha, I feel you.
I couldn't sit on my chair. They always called me Chinchirinchi.
So you always have that inner drive and fire burning in you.
And in Mavo, everybody was like, I used to go to John Wesley and St. Nicolas.
Hey, shout out.
When I was there, everyone was like, why you're sending your kid there? Just send her to like a school in Playa.
So you lived in town originally? Or
I lived in Savaneta. Every other people were like, send her somewhere else. Send her to Playa. Why are you sending her there? Well, thank you, Mom, for sending me there.
Yeah,
because I got thick skin by going to a school in St. Nicolas. I cannot lie about that.
Oh, wow.
So when I got to the Netherlands, I was like, this is nothing. You should go to St. Nicolas and be there for like a year.
Explain to them, because I'm curious now, the thick skin that was developed. How was it the strictness? Was it just because John Wesley has a record of producing
John
what
Wesley
they produce.
Is like it's not part of SCOA or anything.
SPCOA.
So it's very strict. Oh my God, I used to get in trouble a lot.
Was your Frau Artsen one of your teachers? Yeah. Tante Jackie, shout out.
Imagine I went to John Wesley too before the colleague. Shout out to you, Frau Artsen. Or not.
And we had as director Edwards.
Edwards also.
Frau Edwards. Ooh.
She was very strict, and I was outspoken, so I was in a gothic phase, so I always had colored hair. And every time I got in trouble because
you're just like, I can resonate.
Same. What does my colored hair have to do with me distracting teachers? Yeah, you're distracting teachers. Call your mom. My mom's here. what did my child do this time? I'm like, Mom, I have colored hair. Supposedly that's a problem. So every time I got picked on by little things. But I think they're trying to build you into a young professional from the start. So they've been there like, hey, don't do this. Hey, don't
Well, a young
no,
professional, I mean, look, I'm working at a university with gray hair.
Let us not say nothing about the colors.
And that's something back then was taboo.
Yes, that's true.
I am packed with tattoos. So my hands have tattoos. My mom's like, why are you doing your hands? You're not going to get a job. You can't work here. You can't work there. And it's still taboo here. I find it because at some places I apply, they be like, you got to cover all your tattoos. You can't have your hoops in because I have big hoops in my ears. You can't have that. That's why, or you're not going to get accepted.
Well, you know this is with the sorry, Sharice, I went to read because it's breaking the bias.
Correct. But before we go to that theme, for those of you who just tuned in, this is Straight Up Conversation about education every Thursday, 3:30 to 4:30 here on Sopi Mix.
Yeah. So I just want to say...
this is Straight Up Conversation about education, a program sponsored by University of Aruba. And I know this conversation is getting very hot. I know, Deborah, I know.
We needed a break, yeah.
Get some music in there, get the brain cells working up. So that's the theme. Breaking the bias. And you see, these are two women, young at heart, and especially very forced to reckon with, they would say, because it's like they're not doing anything different, but it's the societal barriers at times. So
and I
that's
just
your question.
I was just thinking, is it also the way our society looks at women with tattoo versus men with tattoo? Because you see police officers, people working somewhere
if it's
where
a man, it's like,
where it's exposed. As you said, with hoops, I think even working at a university, I think earrings are a form. It's an art. It's a way of expression. And you also see in culture difference within English Caribbean and Aruba having dreadlocks or locks. People in banks in St. Martin or in the US,
professors everywhere
having locks, and here it's associated in a negative way. So as you say, I think as our community needs to look at the world differently and also.
So what would you say? Because I can see Caroline is like on her chair, like give me.
This is my show. This is my show.
Yeah. So because let me, Nicole. So what would you say now to the society? Because you are women who are really breaking the bias in terms of learning, having your opinion, but also being very professional, but also choosing for what you really want. What would you say to those listening in today?
Well, I'm going to say this before getting a tattoo, think about it because, it's there forever. And think about the placement because in my mind, my mom was like, you can't have it on your hands. You can't have it on your neck because you can't cover it up. I'm like, Mom, I'm going to do whatever I want. So I got my hands tattooed and I thought the community was going to reject it, but it depends on where you're working also. I have a very up-to-date I would say boss, so she's
liberal,
very young,
creative,
also. And it's my way of being outspoken and being out there and showing who really I am, and I'm not gonna cover it up. So if you're gonna accept me, you're gonna accept me as I am, and everything I have.
And that's where you actually use your Instagram platform. As you described it. So I'm just going to read because her bio was so interesting.
It
is. And I don't know if it's supposed to call the name of your Instagram, but
well, then we'll leave it up to her.
But I would
if you would like, because
I would share it. But I would say, I have two ways that people view me. One, the professional worker, and the second one on Instagram. Where I show my true self filled with confidence by doing photo shoots, video shoots, and showing all my tattoos, being bold about a lot of topics. I was like, wow.
How powerful is that?
But it's a pity that we can only be our true self, as you say, completely on Instagram.
I didn't think about opening my Instagram and, I'm going to say my name. Don't laugh. It's called La Diabla Tatuada. So if you're not following, you can click the follow button and, promoting myself out there.
And don't judge. Go with an open mind, because I think that's what it's like. Right. Not only be prepared, but like you said, you feel you are free to be who you are. And what are you saying with that?
Well, seeing that still people think what I do is taboo. So the portrayal of women and how they view us, like you always gotta wear like clothes that covers everything. You can't wear shorts to shorts. You can't show off this. You can't show off that. If you don't have the body for it, don't show it. And I'm like, just show it. It's you. Be happy, be brave, be bold.
And still being professional.
Yeah.
Because she's like super always on time, always
And
lifelong learner.
I think it's something that bosses need to learn somewhere along the lines that we are not the same person at work that we are in our free time. Because I do completely different things when I'm out there. And when I'm at work, I'm going to show up on time. I'm going to wear professional clothing. I got to be representable. I tie my hair. Sometimes I cover my tattoos. Sometimes I don't. But when I'm out there and I'm going out with friends, I'm going to show my tattoo. I'm going to wear their clothing.
You're going to be you.
I'm going to be
You're
me.
gonna
Sexy
be
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sexy you.
Yeah, and why not? Caroline,
But of
I'm
course
seeing
with
you
some-
shaking.
Yeah, I was just gonna say sorry. But of course, with some, depending who your employee is, again, some would say like,
Yeah.
and we've seen it. We've had this discussion on digital footprint with our IT manager the other day, where some things are left, and depending, maybe now it's not important, but maybe if you decide to become the prime minister and a minister, should it matter? And
should
that's
it
the
matter?
conversation as well but I think in a creative environment with marketing, your branding
Creative
yourself.
industry.
Yeah.
That's
The
the
creative industry, rock industry, we see it. So
And it's rocking the world actually. Caroline.
Yeah.
Let us hear about, because you're also breaking the bias, because your podcast, when you listen to it, it's very daring, but also at the same time, you're doing such wonderful work and inspiring work, especially with the autism kids like you did. Maybe you want to elaborate a bit on the action that you had with the kids, and then also go back to who you really are.
Yeah. So like I said, I coined myself as I was studying. I had to work with Kids Beating Cancer, which was a really nice organization. So that's where like the name Fighter for Kids kind of came from. So we were a group and we were fighters for kids. And then I asked them, like, is it okay if I keep using it? Because I really like felt connected to that. So when I came to Reno at some point, I joined the board of Fundación Autismo, and then when we had board re-elections, everybody was like, Carolina.
Go for it.
But I have always been involved, so that was a big thing for my parents, for me to be really aware of my community and my surroundings. So since a very young age, I joined Kiwani's Builders Club and Rainbow for Girls, and I'm still very much involved.
Nice.
With Rainbow for Girls. I was in the board.
Shout out to Rochella.
Yes, Rochella is a model advisor now. So I was
Yes.
a model advisor a couple of years ago.
She's our colleague at the university.
I
should
know,
have her
I know.
on.
Yeah.
Yes. So that kind of always, was with me. And when I was studying, although I was always like involved in the community, I became more outspoken about things that mattered to me as I was learning. So I got to work at a teen mom school. So I worked with an inclusive school system. And so I did like mentoring with different schools, different children. And then I had the teen moms, which was like a whole classroom. It was really nice. And then I was like, oh my gosh, like teen pregnancy in Aruba is like a very shush thing. And so I started like speaking out about things that I thought they were like, okay, why are we not talking about this, or why are we judging people so harshly?
But taboo. Yeah.
Yes. So I kind of became this person online, but also in person. So I will have full-on conversations, and Nicole knows this. Like I will be at Lindy's visiting, and then somebody says something, and I'm like, so I want to hear your thoughts further on that. Start a whole discussion on something.
But
so
anybody who was there, someone who was a random
just random
shopper
person.
came in and made a remark.
Yep. And I'll do that. And it's because I was brought up to challenge people. So it has become like
It's
part
in
of my
your
nature as
DNA.
well. Yeah.
I love when she does that. So just be in the back like,
Yeah. So that you would say is the daring part about you that people
Yes.
really don't feel comfortable. You make them get get accustomed to get the feeling of being uncomfortable.
Yes, and I also think it's how I like kind of present myself too. So I really like colors. I like really like random things. I'm very much into like Hawaii, Hello Kitty type of stuff. So I will come to work, with my Hello Kitty bag and all my glitter pens.
Now I know where I know you from. Didn't you give our colleague Luciano Milliard? Was it you? Give like a whole of kitty bags away?
But now I feel like. I feel like I want to know about that.
Really? I thought it was you.
Okay, viewers, you gotta take off, switch on, so we can
Don't worry.
And I just want to ask, because you said you express yourself in colors in here, and how the teacher would say you were distracting. How did you distract in school?
Oh, same thing.
Different
I
questions,
had like pink color hair and like green color hair, and I would have like random color socks, and I also had like the whole goth.
But did you get remarks from the lecturers about that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I was always in trouble at school since like first grade, elementary school. I feel like Kleuter was like my only time, and then I'm thinking about it. There might have been some conflicts there too, but
so what I think it's very important that you address it, because so often and still we still see it, and I think it was last week I was speaking to one of the lecturers, and I told him, I said, why aren't these students asking questions? He said, yes, because it has not been fostered. So what would your message be to our teachers out there? Because it's very challenging. They say, I don't want to be a teacher, I don't want to be a police, but how would you make somebody who's not on the line of what we expect to be natural? What would you tell them? What would be their learning curve, and how would you help them?
Well, and I am going to answer this from different perspectives, because obviously, as the president of Fundação Autismo, I also have a role in like supporting teachers and stuff like that. But I think self-awareness plays a big role. So I think, I don't think, research shows that a lot of people that go into the teaching area really like control. And which is nice. I get why that's connected to wanting, to be in control of like a classroom and stuff like that. But then you're also there to foster minds and curiosity, and every age group has like a level of curiosity that should be, fostered. So I think being aware of that, being aware of yourself, things that might trigger you, and why does it bother you that, people are asking so many questions. Which, I think also has to do a lot with our culture. So we are, or I don't want to say we, because I don't fit in that, but as I see my friends and other people, children are usually told, not to not to like ask too many questions, or like not to interrupt, be quiet and be still. And I always teach this when I talk to teachers from the child behavior point of view. Like that's such an absurd expectation to have from children, and why are we so obsessed with that, right? So I would want to ask teachers to become self-aware, see where this need to like control and this need to keep children like still and quiet is coming from, and is it truly benefiting your classroom, yes or no? And are there fun ways of doing it where you're still allowing that, but it's a transaction, so it's mutually beneficial? So I had a lot of issues with that. Like I was always like the kid who needed to sit like right next to the teacher because I talked too much and I asked too much, and it was like.
So let's say, you're a rainbow girl. You're also a counselor. What would you do? Give a practical example, if because you have all kind of kids coming, and what do you do in the group when you have a kid that is asking a lot of questions and it's very movable, can't sit quiet, because you have them too.
Yeah,
I know that from me too.
Answer the question and I have something. Time is going.
I know,
God, so many questions.
Well, for me, it's always like, where is it coming from, and is there something that we can do to ease that? So, I'm a firm believer in like things that can help. So stuff like fidget toys. Like, is it that is your body literally needing an external input? Like, are you missing an input or a sensory like stimuli which is causing you to behave or like move a certain way? Are you in need of like attention? So I try to figure that out. And Rainbow also has like, a lot of rules. So I love that I had that experience, because it helped me kind of, figure that out. But I also think that we have to treat people as like, individuals. Yes. And as we figure that out, then I think that we can provide a solution that it's mutually
matches
beneficial.
everyone. Deborah,
definitely.
I have so many questions,
No,
for you,
I
but
was-
it's almost like, almost like we have to close the program.
Yeah,
If
I know. I just want to say one
you-
last thing. You know, when you were speaking, I thought of my daughter. I mean, and I've spoken quite often in the past that she's a Montessori, Montessori
fun.
kindergarten, and the idea that kids can move around and still have a very quiet class. I, as a parent, I can attest to that. I can confirm that. Today we have observation days. I mean, how many other schools are parents actually allowed or encouraged to observe their
part of
kids?
the program, yeah.
I think I said it last year. My mom went and you see kids moving around just as we human beings move around in our office space. Why are we forced to function in a way that's not natural?
Right.
And it's the same. We force our kids not to ask questions, but we expect once they enter in the workforce that they're going to bombard us and be critical. So this again is a conversation where, in terms of education, we really have to focus on what we're doing does not fit in with the era and the age that we're in.
Now, having said that, I know I'm the time breaker, but we're coming to the end of the program, and before we close off, remember, every Thursday, 3:30 to 4:30, right here on Sopi Mix Studio, and also on all our social media channel. You can follow us on Facebook. If you have any questions, check out our programs on www.ua.aw, and on Instagram we have our students have stories every day that will encourage you and empower you to study and continue studying. But Nicole and Caroline, just before we go, what would be your words to encourage young professionals like yourself to really find their passion and go for it? Don't let society build up these barriers. What would you, the mic is yours. What would you say? And then Caroline, same question to you before we close off this wonderful
this is
conversation.
Okay,
It's your opportunity to say.
I would say whatever you put your mind to, don't let anybody else try to tell you otherwise or try to tell you that you can't. There is no can't if you didn't try. You should always try what you put your heart to and accomplish it. There's nothing else, just you and the world. It sounds
Awesome.
big, but it's you and the world.
Wow, thank you so much. Carolina.
Yeah, I think that to everyone who's young, I want to start with saying, parents, like, allow your children to ask questions and to be curious. I think that there's a lot of benefit that comes from that because it fosters self-awareness. And I generally think that for you to go for things and figure out what you want and what you can accomplish, you have to be self-aware first. So do that, and you can start at a very young age, just by asking questions, being allowed to ask questions and to question things as well. So I just want to tell everybody, like, do not be afraid of questioning things, and also don't be afraid of not necessarily hurting feelings, but being annoying, because I have been called that way too many times. I always think it's funny when you meet people who, thought you were annoying, or like teachers, who you are, that I bump into afterwards, and they're like, oh, so you finished an education, you have a job, and you're
As if
like
that
this
was
whole
not gonna
accomplished
happen.
adult. Yeah. And I was like, yeah. So I just, don't be afraid of that, because like what you just said, when you're an adult, these things are encouraged. So then let us just be more willing to share knowledge and just general information, and also feel okay with asking that. If you're not sure, if you want to know, just ask. I mean, what are you going to say? No?
All right.
Okay. Ask again tomorrow.
Right. Thank you so much. And remember to follow Carolina also on her podcast, La Diabla Tatuaje.
On
I'm seeing it
Instagram.
right, on Instagram. And Carolina podcast, and I said we can learn so much. Sometimes I'm so empowered by all these young women that I was like, wow, there's so much. The world is yours. Make it yours. So having said that, Deborah,
one life to live, I would say. Now, thank you, ladies, for this wonderful straight-up conversation. And we will be back next week, same time, same place. Thank you, Shafarice, for being my co-host.
Thank you, Deborah.
I enjoyed, and thank you very much for helping us break this bias.
And the viewers, looking forward to you. And if you have any questions, just drop it there in the comments.
Yes.
So thank you so much. Have a great afternoon, and bye-bye.
Bye.
Yo, you don't know. We going global with this thing.